Sri Kumaraswamy Mahavidyalaya Avsa, District Latur in Maharashtra State. It's organized an international e-conference. It's a daily webinar, daily session. For today's session on the dais is Honorable Keynote Speaker Pamela Heffler, Madam. So first of all, I heartily welcome to you, Madam, for the dais. I welcome the Chief Organizer of the series, Honorable Dr. M.M. Bedkar, sir. Also welcome all those dear attendees. The topic for today's presentation is Reclaim Your Life Through Embodiment. Now this topic is going to present, as I have mentioned, today's keynote speaker, Honorable Pamela ma'am, who is from California, United States. So with this brief introduction, now I request to you, madam, please start your presentation on the topic, Reclaim Your Life Through Embodiment. But kind request, give little bit introduction from your side. Thank you so much and most welcome.
Oh, welcome. Thank you. For those of you who are listening, good morning, good evening, wherever you're coming from. I'm so blessed to be here. My name is Pamela Heffler. I am living in Los Angeles, California now. I have been an actress and a dancer for over 25 plus years, performing on stages, screen, television. I'm also a spiritual life embodiment coach, serving clients all over the globe, virtually, to help them release anything limiting in their life and in their body so that they can live more powerful, beautiful lives. So again, thank you so much for having me here today. I love the topic of healing and embodiment. And before I dive in a little bit more, and if you have any questions, feel free to jump in and ask. I know we'll do a little bit more at the end, but I wanted to define what the word embodiment means. I know a lot of times I'll have clients or people, they'll say, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. So I actually looked it up in the dictionary and they say that embodiment, I'm going to read this because I actually got this, is a tangible, visible form of an idea, feeling, or quality. So it's actually giving form to an idea. It gives concrete form to an abstract concept. But for me, what I call spiritual embodiment really connects you to your intuition, your truth, your deepest feelings, your desire, the things that live in our bodies that often we don't want to acknowledge. We live in a culture mostly that we're taking in so much information, particularly now, right? We can Google things and we're all online all the time. And a lot of times our experience is more from the neck up. And we conceptualize experiences versus what I call embody, which means our bodies really do hold a lot of our wisdom and our intuition. So that's just a little brief explanation of what I call embodiment. I want to just share, if it's okay, a little bit about how I got here. So I shared that I was a dancer from the time I was little. I was sharing the other day, I just came into the world loving to dance. And you know, as most children, we're very free in our experience. We're free, we want to play, finger paint, play on the playground. And I was blessed to have some opportunity in my early life. But truthfully, I was not very encouraged. And I also never sort of felt good enough. And a lot of times in a career like dance, it's very performative. It's very about external, what you look like, and trying to get approval. So at a sort of, I in my early 20s, I danced professionally, and then I quit the profession. And actually at that point got introduced to acting, which was amazing because for me, it was a deeper sense of self, a deeper sense of me having my voice and my power. So again, I blessed to work early on in my career. And fast forward several years probably 20 years later, went through a very challenging time. And like I said, I just want to go back. I had quit dancing because I just sort of never felt good enough. I don't know if anyone can relate to that when you have this deep dream, but you sort of feel like, oh, I'm not as good as everybody else. So fast forward, I went through a very challenging time. And I remember thinking, gosh, I mean, it was a very personal, challenging time where I felt like I almost was going to lose a lot of things in my life, relationship, money, all these things. And I thought in my heart, if I could just dance again, I feel like I would feel home. And I went not back to a traditional dance class, but I went back to what is called a 5 rhythms class. They do them here in this, I think they do them all over the world as well, but it's more of a free form experience. And I share that because in that experience, I had this aha moment. I call it, you sometimes go from a breakdown to a breakthrough. And in that moment of doing this free form movement, I realized our bodies have so much of our wisdom. Our bodies really feel our deepest feelings. Our bodies feel our deepest pleasure and our aliveness and our passion. And it was such a profound experience. And I remember the woman that was leading the class looked at me. She didn't know my name. This is a funny story. We sit around at the very end and just share our heart and just say our first name. No one knew each other. She literally put her hand on my foot, my dirty foot. She didn't know me and said, "Welcome home." And I cried because I was in my body again. And I created what's called Dance Your Life. And from that became a spiritual journey. And this was before the pandemic. So it was around 2017. And I started leading these spiritual workshops. And I call them spiritual because it was really a journey of deep meditation, dropping into your body. And then it was a guided journey where I used music and movement and took my students through a whole 2-hour experience where they got to identify in their bodies places that they were holding limiting beliefs or grief or shame or fear, and release it through embodied practices and get to the other side, which is your joy, your passion. And for me, what kept coming up is my deepest intuition. Every time, for me personally, I go into those spaces of creative movement. They're not about performing. They're not about getting it right or looking good. I get so much intuition and insight into what is important to me in my life. I actually created this embodiment coaching program from that experience. So the reason I title this Reclaim Your Life Through Embodiment, it actually helps you manifest, because I truly believe we each have our own deep inner wisdom that knows if we get quiet enough and listen. And sometimes it means stepping back and not being so influenced by the outer world. That's why meditation, right, is such a deep, beautiful practice, because it allows you to go within. But I say go a step deeper, where you really allow yourself to feel the places in your body, again, that you might be holding shame or doubt or grief. But also the other side is your pleasure and your desire and the things you want to manifest in your life. So that was how I came to create this process. And if I didn't share earlier on, not only being an actress and a dancer, I had worked as what I call life coach, probably 15 years ago. And and it was more the traditional coaching where you work with clients one-on-one or groups, and everyone has a project, and you will set goals and accountability and action. And so I took it a step further once I developed Dance Your Life and thought, I need to put this together and actually create more of a deeper spiritual coaching program that's not, again, from the neck up, but allowing our bodies to actually inform our deepest truth, our passion. So again, back to that definition of embodiment, it's making form from spirit. It's making form from our, oh, I want to create this in my life. What is my body telling me? So that was my background and how I got to this. And again, if anyone wants to stop or have a question, I'm happy to do that, or we can wait till the end. And so I did this pre-pandemic, and once the pandemic happened, here we were on these virtual platforms, and I realized, first of all, so many people were struggling, right, from isolation. I knew people that were struggling from depression. I don't need to bring the audience down, but I had a very dear friend's husband who took his life. I mean, people really traumatized during this time. And I was blessed to connect with communities in this virtual way. And I thought, well, what if I took my real life experiences, the Dance Your Life circles, and put it online? And I'll tell you honestly, I had never done any of this technical stuff, so I was a little nervous. I had some help doing it. I tested it out. And during the pandemic, a few years ago, I started doing virtual circles. So I've had clients I'm here in Los Angeles, as I said, California, and I've had clients in London and Portland and Alaska and in Poland. And it's just been this delicious experience. So I started doing monthly dance circles where I bring, mostly it seems, women. I'm open to men too, by the way. But it seems like women wanted to gather. And I truly believe that we thrive in community and connection to ourselves and connection to others. So during the pandemic, I was leading these circles, and I developed a deeper coaching practice, my Dance Your Life, spiritual life embodiment coaching practice. And it was wonderful, but what I want to share is not only am I offering this to my clients, but I had quite a challenging experience coming out of the pandemic. As I said, I'm an actress. I performed on stage for years, and I got cast a year ago in a live theater performance. It was actually about the war in Ukraine. It was a beautiful piece. Very emotional, telling the true stories of people that were it was called Letters from Ukraine, and the writer and director is actually from Kyiv, and it was telling the true stories of these people. Well, it was the first time I had been back on stage, and we only had one rehearsal on the theater with the lights, and I panicked. I had anxiety that I'd forgotten that I was nervous, that my nervous system wasn't used to, because I was so used to being at home and quiet, to be in front of people and the lights. And I had such an anxiety attack the day before the show. And I was so upset about it. And I thought, Pam, do what you teach. And I actually took myself through my own embodiment practice, and I let myself meditate. I do some journaling. I let myself, and I do it with music, because music raises your vibration and lets you feel deeper. And I really got to some very deep truths about myself, and I moved it through my body. I felt like I wasn't going to be enough. Who am I to tell these powerful stories? Here I am, an actress, telling these people that are living in trauma. The stories were so powerful. And my biggest fear was that I wasn't going to be able to give a beautiful performance, that I would go on stage and freeze. And because I allowed myself to move through this practice, feel all those feelings, move it in my body, the opposite happened. I actually had one of the most powerful, truthful, deep, transformative performances, and honored those people, the stories that I was telling. So again, to me, that's about claiming your life through embodiment. And so I would love to share, if it's okay, about some of my clients, because I've had clients that have really struggled. So I just wanted to give a few examples of some of my clients that have really transformed from this work. One of them, a young gentleman named Jesse, is wonderful, is a veteran, war veteran. And he came to me and he said, I just don't feel anything in my body at all. My body's frozen because of trauma and PTSD. And from allowing himself to really feel into his feelings and actually wake his body up through movement and different practices. I mean, there are different practices one can do. He actually now has found his personal power. He is more alive. He's more excited about life. He even said, I wish I had this when I was in a relationship, because he was shut down. And he was actually the one that said, oh my gosh, I have reclaimed my life because I'm now working in this way, in a way where my body is woken up. And I just want to share my signature 6-step program is called Awaken, because, right, our bodies can sometimes freeze because we don't want to feel those things that are traumatizing. And here he had been in the war and just didn't want to feel anything, which you can understand. It's called our trauma response, is when we leave our body, which is what I was doing when I was scared on stage. But here, I was just an actress telling a story about war. He was someone that lived through a war. And so the gift to be able to help someone and facilitate, and every day, he said after the second session, he cried because he said, oh my gosh, I'm getting my life back. That's powerful. That is such a gift. So I hope that if anyone listening feels like it's too late for them, or they feel frozen, or they've had traumatic experiences, this is a gateway to me, I believe, to have a deeper connection to yourself and in a safe place. You know, there's no pushing you into the deep end, so to speak. Everyone goes at their pace. So that was this one gentleman. Another client of mine, Meg, came to me and she had just lost a couple of people in her life very dear to her. And she was in deep grief. And a lot of times people will come and they aren't even aware that they're in so much pain, because a lot of times in our lives, we go on automatic pilot. You know, you're busy. A lot of people are caretaking. You've got other, your jobs and your family and your children, and you don't give yourself that time to drop in and really feel. And she just allowed ourselves to have so much of her deep feeling. And from that experience, allowed herself to really get to the other side. Actually, the grief led her to her rage and her anger about losing someone close to her. And then from that, she was like, oh, I feel so free now. Now she's back to doing her, her creative work. And she's an artist, and was like, oh gosh, I'm so excited to get back my life. I mean, yes, you still get to feel all that. And for me, when you feel those deep, when you allow yourself to unfreeze and feel the places that are sad or traumatized, it gives you permission to go to the other side, to meet your joy and your pleasure. I had a client that said, oh, I always heard that our bodies hold our trauma, but I never knew our bodies could hold our passion and our pleasure. I was like, yes, we want to get to that too, right? Raise our vibration without denying what's true. So to me, it's a holistic approach. So I just want to again share one more client. My client Chelsea, who I worked with for several months, she was not in a traumatized place. She was actually doing well in life, but felt like she wanted to get to the next level. Her life had been sort of status quo, and she was very open to this work, but realized in the process of doing the embodiment practice, wow, she was caretaking so many people and wasn't giving herself permission. She was afraid. I don't know if this rings true with anyone. If I'm too good, people aren't going to like me. I'm going to make people in my life feel bad because I'm shining my light too bright. So I better dim my light. I've had actually clients women mostly, I'm just going to share, oh no, if I am too successful, I'm going to make my husband feel bad. So they limit themselves instead of going, well, if I'm successful, I lift you up to be successful. And so going back to my client, Chelsea, she had so much freedom and joy and excitement for her life and realizing that she could manifest her biggest dream. She's a producer here. She has a feature film that is winning awards. I see her all the time, winning awards. She's in festivals. So again, the possibilities are huge in this work to help heal places that are tender and soft and vulnerable, as well as what I call turning yourself on. We need to, and that's the other thing. There is an opportunity here that you get to do this for yourself, which is so exciting. We don't have to depend on anyone else. I have always worked with coaches, so it's great to be able to work with someone that helps facilitate and hold a safe space for you, and that's what I do as a coach. But we have the ability to change our state of being and what we want to create in a world through embodiment. And I'll just give a couple of just really basic tools, and I'm happy to share a little bit more with the audience if anyone has questions. But just a basic practice is to ground yourself. For example, like just putting your feet in the earth and feeling, particularly if you're someone who gets anxious, you want to ground yourself, because a lot of times, again, I was talking about trauma response will leave our body. That was more of what I was doing. And also feeling the places in your body, whether it's your hips or your shoulders, feeling places that you feel anger, let that energy move through it. And also feeling your desire and your pleasure. And then when you want to really create something or shift your energy, put on that music that's high vibration. You know what that's like. And just, you can dance it out and really shift to a higher plane and really feel that joy, like generate your own enthusiasm and excitement and claim what is it that you want to manifest in your life? What are the things that you want to be creating? So again, you can reclaim your life through embodiment. I want to create a new business. I want a great relationship. I want to feel good in my body. I get to feel good in my body. You can say that. Anyone listening, you can put your hand on your heart and your belly and feel that. I choose to feel really good in my body. I choose to feel really good in my life. I want to manifest this. So it's an opportunity to really transform your life. And other ways, there's so many ways, right, to be in our body, whether it's Tai Chi or yoga. Being in nature is such a great, swimming. But of course, dance for me is one of the first ways. And I'm not talking about dance having to look good. No one needs to have training. But dance and music are some of the first ways as human beings on this earth that we communicated before text even. So I invite you to join me. I would love to share more with your audience now and open up the floor if anyone has questions about what that might mean for them, or if they have questions for me and how I might serve your audience today. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful presentation on the topic, Reclaim Your Life Through Embodiment. Now it's a time for discussion.
Thank you.
Kindly, I request all the participants, if you have any query or would like to discuss with keynote speaker, please come ahead, dear participants.
Great. Does anyone have questions? Tell me how this part works, because I'm not quite sure. Does anyone have a question for me? Mm-hmm. 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 Ah, that is beautiful. I would love to learn more because I think our cultures teach us so much. I think that's beautiful. And I think it's important that we understand cultures too. And I think it's a way that um, worldwide we can have more compassion for other cultures and hopefully bring more peace. Because I, again, going back to not only as a performer, but as a human being on this planet and as a coach, I want to bring people together so we realize we all have similarities, and we can learn from one another and become better human beings and create a better world. I truly believe that's what art does, and that we are here to lift each other up, which is why if my vibration's higher, if I feel good, if I'm living my truth, if I'm inspiring you, then you inspire someone else. And hopefully we live in a more peaceful world. And I think we can all agree that we need that right now. Yes? Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I did want to go ahead. Anything else? Right, everyone. It's a little later. I did want to say, if anyone is interested in working with me, I'm offering complimentary, that means free sessions. If you want to book in, I don't know if there's a way to have my calendar link, and I'm at www.danceyourlifewithpam.com, and I would love to offer a complimentary, a free embodiment session with your community. We can do it virtually, and that way you can have a gift from me to you. Wonderful. I would love to offer that gift. Thank you. It was a gift to be here today.
Thank you, Honorable Principal Sir, for assessing the today's topic and also judging the keynote speaker. The topic was very interesting, reclaim your life through embodiment. And ma'am have explained in all details that the concept of embodiment, then the embodiment theory, its practice, the psychology, its benefits, and as well as the philosophy of embodiment. What does the embodiment life mean, and how it mean by living embodiment, and also how embodiment can make you feel more alive, and also embodiment body mean, and the whole science beyond this embodiment. Now ma'am have came in front of us with all details, explaining all those concepts. So I'm very, very thankful to you, madam. You have paid your valuable time over the series. Thank you so much. And I also thanks the chief organizer, session chair of the e-conference, Honorable Dr. M. Ambedkar sir, and also thanks all those dear attendees who join the series regularly, makes us motivates. So thanks a lot. You people are there. That's why we are moving ahead. So thanks once again to you all. Now kindly request, please fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. So with the kind permission of chief organizer, I declare today's session is over. Thank you, Pamela ma'am. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Blessings to all.